darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. Welcome back.
Hey everybody, and welcome back. My name is Sue and I am from OML Embroidery, and today we're continuing on with our Sew Along Anita Goodesign Halloween Town. So the first step, I have hooped some light mesh cutaway stabilizer, and the first step is going to stitch out the placement line for the batting, and you put your batting down, and the second step is that it is going to stitch this down, and it's going to stitch it out twice. Then all you have to do is trim at the line, and that's fine. So here's one of our first appliques, and this is the sky applique, and I picked this bright color to do it in, and I'm really liking how it turned out. It's fantastic. It's so bright, and it sets off the orange pumpkins. That's what people in the group say. So once you put your fabric down, it's going to stitch it out, and then you just trim the bottom. You don't have to trim anywhere else. And then we're going to do the second applique, which is the bottom piece that's going to fit in handily. And I chose, you know, it's like a light silver kind of gray color for it. And once you get that stitched down, just trim out the top. You don't have to trim anywhere else, just trim out the top. And you have the sky and the ground matching up and looking gorgeous. So the next step is going to be a bunch of stitches, quilting stitches, I guess you can call them, the random stitches. You can see them here. I already did the blue ones on the top, and I selected fabric and thread that match, so they show up, but you don't really see them all that much. So matching thread is really important. Now it's going to do satin stitches to cover up the applique seam that we made. And this is what makes it look really good. Ooh, and in this one we have ghosties. Now the ghost, he's quite a big ghost. He is in filled stitches and satin stitches around the outside. The other blocks, quilt blocks that we've done, the ghosts were applique. So this one I'm just stitching it out in white, and I really love the detail work on the ghost. His he doesn't look like much now, but when the satin stitches are going on, his hands are really cool looking, and it's just comes together fantastically. So I picked this block for the ghost and for the pumpkins. There are a whole bunch of pumpkins in this one. One is an applique pumpkin. The rest are just stitched. Look at his hands so you can see them now. Very scary, very ghosty. So I love it. Now we're going to start on the stitching the objects. There is only one more applique to stitch out, and that is the pumpkin. And that'll be coming shortly. So this is a fence, and again, it is filled with fill stitches and a nice underlay, so it stands out really nicely. And the detail work will be put on the fence towards the end. And the detail work is what makes it. It's running stitches to make it look like wood, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I was so impressed with this part. I also picked a gray, so a dark gray that I've been using all along. That's the color I chose for this. It's basically a couple of grays that you have, and you can, of course, do as many colors of gray as you want. It kind of shows depth. So darker gray would be further away, light gray would be close up. But you can, of course, make it anything you want. So this fence is really nice. A lot of great connection stitches on this fence too. I love watching it. And of course, it fills in all the gaps of those nice, gorgeous satin stitches joining our applique. So once that part is done, we are going to get the outline for the applique pumpkin. And I'm going to use the same fabric that I used on the other pumpkin. So my cute polka dot. And by the way, I should mention I am on my Brother PR1000E, and I use the frame out function to make applique easier. So once that gets done stitching, all you have to do is just carefully trim it out with your applique scissors, and it looks fantastic. So don't forget about that frame out function on this 10 needle machine. You should be using, you know, as many functions as you can to make, you know, to use it up. It's good. So, okay, more pumpkins. I love the bright orange color that I picked. Really happy with that. It stands out. I decided to do the pumpkin in yellow for the face instead of black, just to be different. This is my favorite part of the whole block. It's a scary tree that's swirly. You can see the ghosty guy a little bit better. I love the stitches on it. But a swirly black ghosty tree, yeah, I love it. That is the other reason why I picked this block. I really like this tree. I don't know what it is about Halloween trees, but they're awesome. So this one I thought goes really well with the side borders and the other blocks. They all have trees in them. I think if I was going to do another block, I would probably do the haunted house block, because we don't have any of that in the 3 or 4. Actually, I've done 4 that I've picked so far. But also the pumpkins, the way they're sitting on the hill and down, I think that's really cool. But look at this tree. Isn't it cool? It's swirly and scary. I don't think there's any birds in it, but I really like how this comes together. It's not the centerpiece of it, but I think it looks great. So yeah, these are the reasons why we picked it, a swirly tree. And that's just going to fill in. It's a little bit of satin stitches, and then the big part of the tree is fill stitches, and it looks absolutely fantastic. There we are. While we're still on black, we're going to start doing some of that detail work. So the first thing to go on is the pumpkin faces, and each pumpkin has a different satin stitch face, which I think is really cool. They have different expressions. The big one that's applique is, of course, the traditional look for pumpkins. That's the way everybody does it, with triangles. But the other ones are a little different. There's even one with just one eye, and they kind of have funny expressions, and I really like that detail. I think it's really neat and really cute. I watched them stitching out going, oh, wow, they're all different, and they're facing different ways, and I just thought it was awesome. So a lot of bright orange, black trees. Look, there's the last guy. Isn't he cute? I like him. And of course, our ghost guy needs a face as well, so he gets an eye, a couple eyes, and I think just a mouth. Ghosts don't really have noses, apparently. And there's 2 more pumpkins to get the detail on. And of course, our broken up fence needs detail too. And I loved watching that part stitch out. It's really cool. So scary pumpkins. A lot of good stuff in this one. Now, this is another reason why I picked it, because it has a lot of that green. If you remember, in the second video, I decided last minute to use a really bright green for the trees, for the sashing, and I wanted to bring in that green so it matched a little bit better, and here it is. And I like that, so that's going to make the sashing look even better when we put them together, because you'll be able to see the green in the blocks as well. Although if you didn't do it that way, I think it would still look great, but I kind of like tying everything in. And of course, a light green for the tops of the pumpkin. You could have done brown. You can see the detail in the fence now. Isn't that cool? I love it. And we're doing the stars in the sky, which I've done in silver all the way through. It's important to keep it consistent, so everything looks like one big scene and it looks like it's flowing. Now we're almost done with this one. All we have to do once it gets finished stitching the stars is take it out, trim it up, and put it with the rest of them. We are almost ready to put this together to start our sewing. I have a couple more sashings to stitch out, but the next video on this project, and probably the last video on this project, will be sewing it together. However, I will be making videos of different things that we can do with these blocks, like a mug rug and whatever else I can think of. There's a lot of things to do. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys keep stitching along with me. This has been a fantastic stitch along project. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to let me know you want more videos just like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.